So what's this? This is Russell Brand.
By September, we will know.
The truth is finally coming out. And when I see it and I see Kennedy here, it must be about COVID.
By September, we will know what has caused the autism epidemic, and we'll be able to eliminate those exposures.
Ooh-wee.
They make you feel that if you don't just say yes to everything, your child's going to die.
Bobby Kennedy has said he will have an answer by September. Tick tock, that's coming up pretty fast as to what is causing the childhood autism pandemic. Now, in a sense, that is a euphemism
There is a pandemic.
for our...
There's a lot more like autistic kids and a lot more kids with conditions, you know, than there was when I was younger. Granted, I was younger, so I wasn't aware much, but yeah, it's much more apparent now. And it's like much more not relevant, much more, there's more of it now.
vaccines and the heavy childhood vaccine schedule contributing to the rise of autism and ADHD. What else could it be? Environmental factors, bad diet, the fact that it went undiagnosed.
It's like all my nieces apparently they've all fucking got ADHD. I don't subscribe to it, but it's suspicious to say the least. And none of us have. I haven't. My brothers haven't. Our generation hasn't. So I don't really get it. You know what I mean?
I was a kid, you was just naughty. Now everyone's got ADHD, everyone's autistic, no one can concentrate. For me, it seems likely that there
is right. You were just naughty.
There is some connection between the peculiar number of vaccinations that are being mandated and the rise of autism. Certainly in the most general sense possible, I understand that the state and the sets of powers that the state serves benefit from a docile, sick, broken and disconnected population. But that's just the musings and reckonings of one man. What we want is hard evidence. And with Jay Bhattacharya at the NIH, meaning he's the person that determines which clinical trials take place and how they are funded, by your tax dollars, of course, we are likely to at last get some answers to whether or not there's a link between vaccines and autism. And wouldn't you think that the people that make vaccines would be pretty keen for those clinical trials to take place? From the most basic understanding possible, the fact that vaccines are granted indemnity from legal action makes them a pretty unique business. If we were to sell you a product and that product made you sick and ill, say if it was, I don't know.
Yeah, you would have to pay the repercussions, right? But then how come vaccines are exempt from that? That's suspicious, right?
A kombucha or 1775 coffee or whatever. If it made you ill, you can sue the company. You can't do that with vaccines, or when you do that, it's the government that generally handles the legal costs or consequences of those cases. So, let me know in the comments and chat, should pharmaceutical companies be given the tariffs that Donald Trump is talking about? Should their unique status be ended? And do you believe that Bobby Kennedy will have the power to expose what appears to be some kind of duplicity, deception, dishonesty, or at least opacity behind the pharmaceutical industry?
It's true, it's very shrouded in mystery, isn't it? Well, let's bust open those gates and have a look inside there. What are you doing in there?
Let me know in the comments and chat. Let's have a look now at Bobby Kennedy's claim that he will have an answer soon. And as you know, I love and trust Bobby.
And we're trying to refocus the press to get them to pay attention to the chronic disease epidemic as you've asked us to. We have now 38% of American youth are pre-diabetic. This was unknown.
38%. Oh my God.
30 years ago. Every child that becomes diabetic, there should be a headline about them. We have 100 million adults who are pre-diabetic or diabetic. And
100 million of them waddling around.
We have, we have now the autism rates have gone from now most recent numbers we think are going to be about 1 in 31, 1 in 20, so they're going up again from 1 in 10,000 when I was a kid.
1 in 10,000 to 1 in 31 is crazy.
And we are going, at your direction, we are going to know by September. We've launched a massive testing and research effort that's going to involve hundreds of scientists from around the world. By September, we will know what has caused the autism epidemic, and we'll be able to eliminate those exposures.
That's good.
Think of that. So it was 1 in 10,000 children had autism, and now it's 1 in 31.
That's mad. That is actually mad.
Not 31,000,
Isn't it?
31. That's a horrible statistic, isn't it? And
Wow.
there's got to be something artificial out there that's doing this. So you think you're going to have a pretty good idea, huh?
We will know by September.
There will be no bigger news conference than that. So that's it. If you can come up with that answer where you stop taking something, you stop eating something, or maybe it's a shot, but something's causing it. It can't
Yeah, something has to be causing it. We're in a world of cause and effect, isn't it?
It can't be from 10,000 to. Can you imagine that, Marco? That's
Yeah,
a
something-
big.
There's something being taken for that difference, for sure.
It's a big number. Thank you very much. You're doing great. Thank you, Bobby.
By the way that Donald Trump does things like goes, can you believe that, Marco? Just sort of conversationally pulling Marco Rubio into this matter. Now,
Yeah.
I know that some people in online spaces believe that Bobby Kennedy has been compromised in some ways. I've watched the reporting of Ian Carroll and Candace Owens, and so I know specifically what the claims are. But when it comes to this subject and this issue, the issue of the undue power of pharmaceutical companies, the potential that the pharmaceutical industry as well as the food industry in some peculiar, inert and institutional way are responsible for the poisoning of American children
Yeah.
and the American population at large, turning us into sort of bloated blobs. I'm not American, of course. Bloated blobs incapable of conscious thought or discernment, incapable of critical thinking, just being ushered
Damn.
through mazes to
Just a consumer. Simply a consumer, just consuming.
towards the grave. Everywhere an airport now, checks and balances always applied to the population, never applied to those in power. Absolute transparency for us. Everything about us, the past, the future, continually scrutinized, analyzed.
Yeah.
Tony Blair pushing digital ID, which just means more control
Yeah.
for them, more ability to penalize and control, while
That's
very
right.
powerful institutions seem to benefit from deep clandestine opacity. I
Yeah.
wonder if we will get all of the disclosure and declarations that have been discussed. Let me know in the comments and chat what you think about that. Let me know if you agree with Ian Carroll, for example, that the Epstein files are the ones that are most significant, that
Ooh.
these are the files that would reveal most clearly the true nature of power. If you are
Yeah.
trying to get some
Where are
balance
they?
in this crazy world that we occupy now, where some people absolutely love Elon Musk and some people loathe Elon Musk, and the same can be said of AOC or Trump or any one of us, then
Yeah.
what I like to do, and tell me if you agree with this, is find commentators from a variety of political perspectives and
100%,
see
this is
if you can
important.
find any consistency in what they're saying. And beyond that, acknowledge that all human beings are flawed and failing and broken. All of us, none of us are better than one another. We're all on our knees, shoulder to shoulder, lined up at the foot of the cross, praying for forgiveness, turning away from sin, and hoping that the blood of Christ will be sufficient for us. One person who's been very critical of my friend
He turned that biblical very quickly. Goddamn.
Bobby Kennedy, who I love, is Candace Owens, who I also actually love, as a matter of fact. Here she is saying that she experienced, as a new mother, a great deal of pressure to vaccinate her children.
Yeah.
Loads of you watching this
Yeah.
will be parents. You'll know what it's like if you try and take your kid to a doctor. They want to know about the vaccine schedule. Well, if you're part
They
of that
wanna
group of
fill him
people
up
who
with
don't
vaccines.
vaccinate your children unless you think your children are at a particular risk from a particular condition, then
That's
you'll
the
know
best way
what
to
that
be.
pressure is like. Let's have a look at Candace Owens' view on vaccines. So now
Yeah.
we've had Bobby Kennedy. We know where Bobby stands. We've seen Trump, who's changing his position. Here's Candace Owens.
I want people to make decisions for themselves. I am not pushing for people not to vaccinate their children. I am pushing for parents to have a broader understanding
course, I
of the
agree.
manipulation that takes place, because I know how, and I went in there strong, how they make first-time mothers feel. They make you feel that if you don't just say yes to everything, your child's going to
baby's
die.
gonna die.
Like, there's
Yeah,
no
yeah.
in between. There's no fine line. Just like with
That's a classic way of deception, isn't it? It's like, if you don't do this, then your most precious thing is going to die. It's the greatest way of deception. Humans have been doing that since the beginning of time. We know this trick. I'm aware of this one. I know that one.
COVID, stay inside, save lives. If you see your grandmother, you're a terrible person. It's the same thing. And there's no one more vulnerable than a woman who's just had a child, because all you want to do is protect that child. And maybe your instinct is saying like,
That's
wow,
really
he's so itty
sadistic,
bitty.
right?
Should he be really getting all of these needles and vaccines? Then the doctor is just like, are you crazy? They give him a script, which I show on my show.
Central Scrutinizer. Do you vax your children, Russell? What do you think? We've always believed in empowering voices, no matter how unpopular. Now we're taking the fight to the next level. When major advertisers conspired to pull their dollary dues, even brands like Dirty Dunkin' Donuts, which I think of as being a bit
Cunts.
like the Dunkin' Donut of that Tesla guy that wiped his hand on his butt. Remember him, this guy? Dunkin' Donuts is the donut equivalent of that. The free speech hating pigs, claiming that Rumble had a right-wing culture. How dare they? We're excited to offer you
crazy.
Rumble Premium, a completely ad-free experience with exclusive benefits for viewers and creators. You'll find exclusive content from creators like Russell Brand. Hey,
And obviously now with Brand doing his thing, there's a rape thing going on. So we'll see as that slowly unfolds.
I'm him. Dr. Disrespect. That's my actual doctor. Timcast. Yeah, Timpo. The Mug Club. Yeah, go on, Crowder. We're going to come there. We're going to go on that show. It's more than a subscription. It's a stand for free speech. You're subscribing to freedom. Your voice matters. Join Rumble Premium. For a limited time, you can get $10 off an annual plan using the promo code BRAND. Visit rumble.com/premium, promo code BRAND. Together, we can turn the tide.
I
Whether you
used to
join
stream on
Rumble
Rumble
Premium
quite a
or
bit.
simply keep watching, your support helps keep free speech alive. Join Rumble Premium and help keep free speech alive, baby.
A script if the mother asks any questions, like basically gaslight her and say these things. I showed them this
Basically, ensure at any means that this baby gets this vaccine.
script on the CDC website. Like if she has any questions.
Are you kidding?
Oh, it 100% exists. Yeah. And I'm going, think about what they're doing. They are training them how to psychologically convince you when you have reasonable questions. And what you said before is actually so important, Jillian. You said, I know that you believe that vaccines can impact one people one way and some people another way. Yeah, you're
true.
correct. That's
True.
why this is insane. One size never fits all. We know that one size doesn't fit all.
100%. Yeah, that's right. People have different reactions to things, and people should know themselves. In order to know yourself, you must live, not be pumped with bullshit. And so you're, compromised from the get-go. No, thank you.
Even know why it impacts
I had a
different
seizure when I
people.
had Gardasil, mini seizure in the doctor's office. So there was no like, could this have been something else? It never happened, dropped instantly on the floor. My sister got it and didn't have that happen. So of course, one size does not fit all. And so that should actually be your reason why you want to learn about vaccines.
Right.
Because the fact that they're saying every kid needs this at the exact same time is implying that we are all just like the exact
size
same
fits all.
carbon copy
Yeah.
of one another, which we
We're
are.
not.
You know, these
We're
are
not.
crazy, scary times for me personally, and it seems for the world at large. But isn't it somewhat heartening to hear conversations of this nature reaching the mainstream? Isn't it interesting to acknowledge that the nature and
needed.
shape
It's
and
very
the
much needed.
constituency and consistency of the mainstream is altered now forever? That whether or not you believe that the new administration and even new media figures are 100% reliable, of course they're not, no one is, at least you can now acknowledge that a new type of discourse is taking place, that Candace Owens can say publicly and openly, as a result really of technology and the rise of new media, I am deeply cynical about vaccines, and Bobby Kennedy can conduct an investigation, and Donald Trump can over his shoulder ask
I'm getting a
Marco
bit cold.
Rubio what he thinks. Now, let's get into this extraordinary fact. Many people are racked with doubt, concern and consternation when it comes to the subject of tariffs, but tariffs really is a way of marshalling national interests and, for me, a way of helping us investigate our true feelings about consumerism and commodity. Clearly, when you see a Chinese
And luxury. People.
handbag
It's a scam.
manufacturer, purse manufacturer, saying, good luck making them handbags all over the world because you simply don't have the standards, the ability, or the economic models to handle the freight, makes me realize that we've become too infatuated with commodity. We're still down at the altars of Moloch and Baal, worshipping false idols.
God damn, with the biblical shit. Shit.
These days must end. They must end. Maybe tariffs can be a good thing. Let us now work out whether or not Tariffs are the answer to all the world's problems, including ending childhood autism. Donald Trump is saying that pharmaceutical companies now might be subject to tariffs.
The drug companies, listen to them, but we're going to do something that we have to do. We're going to tariff our pharmaceuticals, and once we do that, they're going to come rushing back into our country because we're the big market. The advantage we have over everybody is that we're the big market. So we're going to be announcing very shortly a major tariff on pharmaceuticals.
That's
and
good.
When they hear that, they will leave China, they will leave other places because they have to sell. Most of their product is sold here. And they're going to be opening up their plants all over the place in our country. We're going to be announcing that.
And that's his plan, basically, is to bring innovation and manufacturing to the States, because with it comes wealth.
So that's breaking news. Ladies and gentlemen, we have breaking news.
This isn't a perfect world. It's not meant to be a perfect world. Those of us that are Christian believe that the world is controlled by the evil one. The institutions have been captured. That's there in black and white again and again in the New Testament. The Old Testament is full of the fact that we are fallen. We're given signs, we're given love, we're given food, we're given freedom, and we simply can't handle it or control it. There's no reason for any partisan person to say anything positive about Donald Trump or Bobby Kennedy. All they want to do is cling to the heels of an Obama somewhere, and what heels they are. And in order to continue to believe that the material world can deliver you from sin and brokenness, you have to shut down your mind pretty hard. I reckon that things are improving, if not as radically as they could, or maybe even ought.
We're in a slowly healing stage. I feel the wound is scabbing over, and it's that itchy period. It's all right. We'll be fine. We got each other. It's all right.
The new administration, at least with this autism issue, this autism conversation, this vaccine conversation, this willingness to oppose Big Pharma, to tariff Big Pharma, this willingness to try something new.
Nothing should be so powerful that we're afraid of everything that they do. Nothing. Everything should stand tall under the light.
At least it's better than what it was. Is it enough? Of course it's not enough. It will never be enough. We have to find new ways of governing. We have to find ways of making straight the path for the return of the Holy One and the Holy Principle. And that's going to require
it's getting biblical on us again.
all of us to one degree or another. All of us are participants, aren't we, in this super state of undifferentiated material that flows through us all. Surely all of us are responsible for somehow ensuring that the wave of all potential, when it hits us, becomes a particular. And if there were any shape at all, Lord alone knows that we would rather it weren't the swastika. Lord alone knows that it would be the shape of the cross. Lord alone knows that the vertical and the horizontal have to intersect at some point, and let it be the heart. Let all of our hearts be open to new and radical change. But that's just what I think. Why don't you let me know what you think in the
And that's that biblical stuff there, Russell. Damn.
comments and the chat.
Great video, though.
Get
And it's great to see Bobby Kennedy doing what Bobby Kennedy does. Searching, hunting, and wandering, and he's in a position to do that, and that's a great person to have there. You know what I'm saying? Do you get what I'm saying? Great video from Russell. I'll pin it. It'll be in the description. If you like that, give it a sub. Always go back to the original. Give him a sub as well. Give him a like. Share. Spread the love. Comment if you like. It's all right. Can do anything. Didn't like it? Dislike the button. There's a dislike button there. You could press that. We're living in a lovely world. We just have to be able to see it. Everything is perception, darlings. Yeah, great video.